welcome to our virtual weight loss class. So this is session 9. We're talking about stress and sleep today. So last week, I want you guys to think a little bit about what we talked about with positive psychology and leveraging your strengths. And just spend a second thinking about how you use positive psychology in the past week and thinking about your successes and how you use the strengths that helped you accomplish some things in the past to go forward with your health goals. Oh, sorry. We have a little friend who's going to be part of our class today. So today we're going to talk a little bit about stress and sleep, and I'm going to outline what's in your handout and the activities you can do. And I also want you guys to make sure that you're still working on SMART goals. So this week we'll talk about getting enough sleep and kind of ways to manage stress. And sometimes people can't think of a good SMART goal that relates to that, and that's fine. But you can always remember to do your SMART goals that relate to physical activity and healthy eating choices. So just make sure that you have that SMART goal. And if you don't show up next week, because we will have class next week so far, but if you don't feel comfortable showing up, that's fine. But I would like you to email me your weight and whatever SMART goal you're working on. So with that, we'll start talking about stress. I'll read the opening quote on the session handout. Incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. So stress is a normal part of life, and we all have it, and it can really impact our healthy eating habits, and of course it can impact the quality of sleep that we get. But one thing that we can do, even though we maybe can't control the stress in your life, or we can't control the amount of sleep we get always, is to look at the things that we can control, and that will alleviate some of your stress. So stress is normal. It's how you manage it that's important. And you'll see in your session handout, this will be emailing to you guys, but the main tips that we offer in this program for managing stress are moving, getting exercise, eating well, breathing, and taking a time out when stress mounts. So for moving, this could be something as simple as you're having a stressful moment at work or at home, and you just get up and you walk in place. It could be something as simple as 10 minutes, but sometimes moving and getting your blood flowing can be a really helpful strategy to manage stress. Eating well. You all know that when you eat well, you feel better. When you don't eat well, it can make your stress worse, because then you have those feelings of guilt. And remember, we talk about positive psychology and how important that is. Eating well ties into that, because when we eat well, we kind of feel proud of ourselves, and it literally makes us feel good. So consider that as your second strategy for managing stress. Third strategy is breathing. Remember, we talked about those deep belly breaths back in session 7. And so consider going back to some of those strategies that we talk about when you're thinking about mindfulness, and that's another way you can practice some stress relief. And finally, taking a time out when stress mounts. So taking a nice time out, take a little nap. Those are good strategies. So think of all of these 4 things as tools that you can use to manage stress. There's Dr. Hans Selye is a pioneer endocrinologist, and he famously said, without stress, there would be no life. So let's all acknowledge that we have stress, unfortunately. It helps us, kind of get the energy to complete things, and it's not always a bad thing, but it's managing stress that's important. So I want you guys, there's a couple of activities to do in here. For stress, we have our stress inventory. So I want you to fill this out and spend some time thinking about it. Things that cause you to feel stressed. When you feel stressed, you tend to, etc. And kind of reflect on some of the answers here. Those of you who are lucky enough to have a husband or wife in the class with you, you guys can maybe discuss this in a small group just like we do in class. But fill that out this week. That's your homework. And then we'll talk a little bit about it the next time we meet, whenever that is. So keep that in mind and bring that to class, please. The second component of this session is talking about sleep. An interesting thing about sleep is what it does, what it physically does to you when you don't get enough sleep. I'm just going to kind of give you the layperson's explanation of this, so forgive me if I mispronounce things. But the 2 hormones that drive what happens to us when we are sleep deprived are called ghrelin and leptin. And to put it simply, ghrelin is the hormone that tells us when to eat. And when we are sleep deprived, we produce more ghrelin. And leptin is the hormone that tells us to stop eating. And when we lack sleep, our bodies produce less leptin. So see, it's a kind of a compound effect. So sleep is really important. Not everyone can control the amount of sleep you get. So again, we're looking for areas that we can control it. And there's another activity in your session handout, my strategies to improve sleep. I'd like you to focus on this, and this might give you some clues as to where you do have control and where you can add some strategies for increasing the quality of your sleep. So that's all we have for class today. It's not a long video because we're not doing group discussions, but I would like you guys really to focus on those 2 activities in there, and of course your SMART goal. If you could email me what your SMART goal was last week and your weight, and then think about what your SMART goal will be for this next week, that'd be great. And I'll keep you guys updated as to the WISE policy for class cancellations and what we'll be doing as the week goes on and as things unfold. But have a good week, everyone. Stay well, be healthy, and I'll be thinking about all of you. Bye.